Hey there, fight fans. Today in this video is a real mixture of exclusive news, intrigue, and incredible events from the world of mixed martial arts. UFC lightweight Beneil Dariush has said he will riot if the promotion does not make him a contender for the title if he defeats Charles Oliveira.
Aí, Platão, aí, tira uma foto aqui, velho. Foi. Porra. Caralho, velho. Que isso, cara? Isso aí.
Vocês da porra, velho. Não, caralho, velho.
Vocês estão coteados aí, velho.
Not only Dariush has claims to Dana White, but Jake Paul also accused the UFC president of hypocrisy. Colby Covington again comes into play, leaving no one indifferent, as he recalls old grudges and makes a cheeky statement about Jones that denies him being the greatest fighter of all time. But that is not all. At the very end of the video, we will also discuss the terrible tragedy that shook the world of MMA. Safety at mixed martial arts events has been questioned after the death of one underage fighter. An important message to promotions and event organizers. But before we kick off the video, I just want to ask you guys, please do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We greatly appreciate it, so thank you in advance. Now, as you already know, the grand numbered UFC 289 event will be taking place on June 10th. It will be held at Rogers Arena in Vancouver. Charles Oliveira will be facing off against Beneil Dariush in the co-main event of the evening. This fight in the lightweight division has the status of being the #1 contender. Therefore, it is very likely that the winner will be meeting Islam Makhachev in Abu Dhabi in October. Dariush has said that the UFC management promised him a title fight after a possible victory, saying, "When I spoke to the UFC, they told me that if I beat Charles Oliveira, then I would become the #1 contender. It's not often they give me the floor, but this time they did. I'll take their word for it. But if I don't get a title shot, then I'll probably follow Justin Gaethje's advice and start a riot." Now, Islam Makhachev himself has already decided who he will be supporting in this fight, saying, "I hope Dariush defeats Oliveira, because I have already fought Oliveira. I need a new challenge." Now, American MMA fighter, former interim UFC lightweight champ Justin Gaethje explained how, in his opinion, the next opponent of Islam Makhachev should be determined, saying, "Ratings are made for a reason. They may not be as honest as we think, but Poirier is second in it. I am third. And in another fight, #1, Charles Oliveira, and #4, Beneil Dariush will fight. A champion has to fight someone. If Dariush wins there, then he should fight Makhachev. And the next in line will be the one who wins our fight with Poirier. If Oliveira wins, then one of us with Dustin should go to Abu Dhabi," Gaethje stated in an interview with Daniel Cormier. Now, Dariush noted that one of the things that surprised him about the fight between Charles Oliveira and Makhachev was the distance control. He expected Oliveira to be able to manage distance better in this fight, but that did not happen. Oliveira tried to advance and attack, which led to problems in his defense. The thing that surprised me in the fight between Oliveira and Makhachev was distance control. I thought Charles would do a better job in that aspect, but he didn't. He tried to apply pressure and go forward, which created holes in his defense, said Dariush. Now, Dariush seems to have uncovered some Makhachev-style vulnerabilities and is ready to use them to his advantage. Beneil Dariush is confident that this can be his trump card in the upcoming fights. It remains only to wait and see how he will apply this to the success against Makhachev. So,
I think Dariush is a problem for a lot of people, just the way he fights, the awkwardness. Obviously, Oliveira, fantastic, and we saw that he was dominant until his one fight with Islam. Dariush should be above #4. They kept dropping him down when he was winning. It's crazy.
I think stylistically, he'll be able to defend Oliveira's takedowns, but even if it hits the ground, I think his ground game is one of the best in the division, and he's one of the most dangerous guys on the feet. So, but I'm going with Beneil.
I don't think he's gonna, obviously Beneil's not gonna be scared of the ground game. I think Beneil creates and causes a lot of damage, and if Oliveira goes down, he'll be unafraid to follow him to the ground, just like Makhachev did, and he submitted him right after that. So I think that's the scenario that could happen.
So right now, we are stuck waiting to finally find out who will be the next fight for Islam Makhachev. Now, the nature of the animosity between Dana White and Jake Paul is very well known to us, and they never miss an opportunity to poke fun at each other.
And everybody else needs you, Dana. I'm the only person that doesn't need you, and I don't give a fuck about you. But all these people, all your fighters, all of them, they can't say shit because you'll just bench them.
You publicly stated
that I use cocaine. I do not. Yeah, I just, you know, some things, sometimes I do, but not much anymore.
This time, Jake Paul accused the UFC president of hypocrisy, saying, "Didn't Dana say this? If I were Jon Jones, I would not move to heavyweight because Francis Ngannou is here. Francis Ngannou is the most dangerous man on the planet." Dana confirmed this while controlling Francis. Dana sits and says, "I don't do questionable fights. We don't do that in the UFC." He then announces a fight for a fictitious BMF belt to try and divert attention from the news that Francis has moved to the PFL. Now he is desperately trying to negotiate with Tyson Fury for a fight in the octagon, Paul posted on social media. So only time will tell how this tense situation develops and what the next moves of Dana White and Jake Paul will be. But one thing is for sure, their rivalry is going up and martial arts fans will be following the story with a lot of interest. Now, former UFC welterweight title challenger Colby Covington doesn't consider Jon Jones the greatest fighter of all time. Covington claims that Jones has failed numerous steroid tests and violated the law, which excludes him from being the list of the greatest fighters. However, an alternative point of view can be offered based on this very concept of the greatness of a fighter. The greatness of a fighter, of course, is associated with his achievements in the octagon and extracurricular activities. Considered one of the best UFC fighters of all time, Jones has proven his worth in the octagon. His technique, fighting skills, and ability to adapt to different situations in a fight are all true indications of his greatness. Despite the incidents involving violations of rules and laws, these aspects do not negate his outstanding sporting achievements. The criteria for determining a fighter's greatness includes both his technical background and his win statistics, as well as his impact in and out of the sport. Jones made a huge contribution to the development of MMA and has become a source of inspiration for many fighters. He paved the way for a new generation, and he continues to impress with his performances. Despite their legal troubles, many great athletes and fighters have had their own shortcomings and mistakes. However, their sporting achievements and legacy do live on, defining their place in history. Therefore, when evaluating Jon Jones as a fighter, we must take into account his professionalism and technical prowess, separating sporting achievements from his personal problems. Now, a tragic death of an underage MMA fighter is challenging the safety in mixed martial arts events. A recent incident at a mixed martial arts tournament in Russia's Amur region has drawn attention to the issue of safety and protection of underage fighters. A 16-year-old participant from the Arkarinsky district died after receiving a blow to the head during a fight and subsequent hospitalization. Holding the Open Cup of the sports club in MMA was supposed to take into account all the necessary procedures and safety requirements. However, according to the mayor of the city, the chief judge of the competition, who is also the head of the regional organization, suddenly changed the rules, allowing fighters aged 16 to 17 to fight without any open-type boxing helmets. Now, this case raised serious questions about the security measures and responsibilities in the organization and conduct of sporting events, especially with the participation of underage athletes. Adolescence is associated with special psychological and psychological characteristics that require more careful attention for their safety. This sad event will be the basis for the adoption of new security measures at such events and drawing attention to the importance of strict adherence to the rules and regulations in MMA, especially with the participation of underage athletes. So that is all for today. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel because it is very important to us, and thank you all in advance.